Hello and welcome to Blimey TV. I'm sitting here after Carlisle have just drawn 0-0 with Colchester at home in what has been one of the most bizarre opening days of the season I've ever seen. With our vice captain being all but sold to a non-league club and one of our best players getting injured in the warm-up. So it was quite a disruptive start to the day, but that isn't really the big talking point from today. What the big talking point is see that attendance score right above my head is no longer 0, which is such a relief. And to have, I believe, it's close to 6,500, which is, I haven't seen that good of an attendance since the 10,000 at MK Dons that day. It's been a brilliant day, regardless of everything that's happened. You know, it was just good to be back in pretty much a full Brunton Park. Away fans as well. Colchester brought up a little over 200 fans of their own. They certainly made themselves known. That's that's no secret. But to take away from today, we were the better team. We probably should have won, apart from their keeper. Always has a good game against Carlisle, making 2 magnificent saves. You know, Colchester have always been a bit of a bogey team for Carlisle. I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. They're a decent side, and that number 9 always looked a bit deadly up top for them. He was clearly the target man. Every time they got the ball, they would hoof it up to him and hope that he could get it down, start an attack. Which on a few occasions he did, but the defending from us today was pretty much on point. Which, considering your best defender's just been pretty much ripped out of the team after, you know, Aaron Hayden didn't have a good pre-season, but he was always there in pre-season to be relied on. You know, I have no doubt that up until maybe this time last week, when I assume they first found out about this whole Wrexham deal, is, you know, his plan was to have Whelan alongside Aaron Hayden, and now the heart of his defence has been torn out on the opening day of the season. That's a massive blow. And Rod McDonald, as much as I've been critical of him in the past, he looked good today. He looked solid. You know, he's never going to be the fastest defender, but he looked decent. And there was one interception he made towards the end that if he wasn't there and if he hadn't tracked back from the free kick that it had resulted from, then it would have been 1-0 to Colchester, despite, you know, that being quite against the run of play. You know, he made that decisive interception. Him being there stopped there being a goal, and I think, you know, he played really well today. He won headers, he looked assertive, which is things Aaron Hayden hasn't looked in pre-season. And look, I'm not going to deny Aaron Hayden's going to be a big loss, but he's not, and not just a loss on the pitch, but a loss off the pitch, clearly, because he's done so much for the community around Carlisle, and he's, you know, I've heard rumours of him training at local boxing clubs in the off season, but, you know, he's going to be a big miss, and he was clearly in Chris Beech's plans, or he wouldn't have given him the vice captain and used him throughout the entire pre-season. But if we can get good money for him, then he's not irreplaceable. But look, if we are going to replace him, Whelan looks a good replacement. He looks so good today, and he's another one of those that comes in, plays like he's been playing League 2 football for ages, even though he's only young. You know, he's Liverpool under-23s captain. You know, and who hasn't been these days at this level? But, you know, he showed that he can do it at senior level, at actually professional level. I know he's had loan deals, but this is his club now, and he's played well and he's really asserted himself. And I wouldn't want to see him get dropped. And if Aaron Hayden is going to go, then that leaves open a number 6 shirt that I'm sure he would be delighted to take for himself. But, you know, apart from the only thing we were missing today was the goal, and we should have got it with John Mellish forcing a brilliant double save from their keeper. Another talking point, Magnus Norman. His distribution was piss poor, but apart from that, he didn't really have much to do. And, you know, as his debut, because this is meant to be his season, Magnus Norman. Chris Beech obviously sees him as his first choice goalkeeper, and, you know, a clean sheet can't do him too much harm. But yeah, in the midfield, obviously Zach Clough should have been there, wasn't. You know, he was just out. He was a doubt coming into the game, and he was in the starting 11. But Joe Riley really made a case for him being in ahead of him. To be honest with you, I wouldn't. I don't think you can drop Joe Riley after that next week, which creates a welcome headache for Chris Beach. I think because you've got 4 defenders there: Callum Guy, John Mellish, Zach Clough, and Joe Riley. All 4 of which deserve to be playing. Obviously, Callum Guy, the captain, especially with the vice captain being sold, you need to have him in the team. Joe Riley put in a good performance today, and it would be very harsh to drop him. John Mellish, our top goal scorer last season, and Zach Clough, who's been bigged up to be our next big thing. It's very, very difficult to decide who you play in that midfield after today. You know, Joe Riley was the obvious choice with him. Not that he's done anything wrong, but just that, you know, our captain, our top goal scorer, the other 2 midfielders that you couldn't drop. But after today, after a good performance like that, you can't drop him, and it just creates the problem of, well, where do you put Zach Clough, because he's meant to be our, you know, our marquee signing of the summer. Where the hell do you put him in that midfield now? Because he's surrounded by such good midfield talents, and maybe it's a thing of every week you rotate one, but it's a welcome headache for Chris Beach anyways. Both fullbacks, both young fullbacks, look brilliant. The number 2 and the number 3, no real complaint there. And up top, Alessandro had one of his best games with the Carlisle shirt. I thought all that was missing was the goal. Tristan Abrahams, I thought, looked great. His movement is superb. Mampala came on, Toure came on, and that creates a bit of a power imbalance there as well, because when things weren't going well, I called him a panic sub. Gimme Toure was the panic sub. If things weren't going well, you whacked him on to try and get something out of the game. Is there a case of Manny Mampala being that now? Because he came on, he looked sharp, he gave the ball away a few times, but apart from that, he looks a good attacking threat. Brennan Dickinson, the other starting attacker, he missed a very good chance, and you know he didn't have the game of his life. And after he made that one-on-one thing, he just looked shattered, and then he was subbed off for I believe Toure. But yeah, look, not a bad start to the season. There's certainly been worse. Just think of last season. You know, we lost 3-0 on the opening day to Oldham, and then lost the next game 3-0 to Cambridge. And to be honest with you, with all the noise around Aaron Hayden in the morning before this game, I thought that would offset the team. But obviously not, and we've got a point from the opening day of the season, which isn't common in Carlisle's history. But so yeah, plenty of positives, few negatives to take, and overall, just good to have fans back. And I think that's all I'm going to say from today. In a bit.